My name is Chiara Aquilani. I am a musician and a PhD student with a project on soundscapes and interspecies sound musical encounters. And today, together with Davide Monti, violinist and director of Helicona project, we will present the outcomes of our research, exploring the role of the sound musical element in human-horse relationship building. So before diving into the heart of the study, I'll give a brief theoretical introduction and an historical context. So what we already know about horse and music, we of course know that rhythm is historically intrinsic to equine locomotion, especially in traditional equestrian and artistic practices like dressage. Generally, walk and trot correspond to binary time, while gallop corresponds to ternary. So besides shaping the coordination between horse and rider, as the predictable element, rhythm has a calming effect on horses, habitual prey animals for whom disruptions of equilibrium trigger anxiety and fear. With a broad hearing range, horses detect subtle sound variation and localize them very precisely, thanks to mobile ears and postural adjustments. This is crucial for threat detection. Moreover, studies show that they tend to prefer slow, soft music over fast or dissonant sounds, which on the contrary can increase tension and arousal. But what particularly interested Davide and me, however, was the horse's exceptional sensory sensitivity, which allows it to perceive and respond to the emotional signals of other living beings. So equine communication is based on a complex system of bodily signals that reflect intentions, emotional states, and relational dynamics. About body signals, for instance, Sharon Wilsey developed a horse-centered method based on herd dynamics to model human-horse interaction. Wilsey argues that, quote, in liberty work, you can speak out loud to ask something to your horse. Even though he naturally cannot understand exact words, saying "give me your foot" brings your body into micro-movements that the horse will notice. As mentioned, liberty work enhances proprioception, the awareness of small shifts in balance, tension, and pressure of our body. When you speak out loud, you move in the most imperceptible way, and the horse listens to your movement. Close quote. So when it comes to performance, we understand it as a situated and relational form of embodied agency where the relationship is co-constructed through gestures, postures, rhythm, breath, and micro-movements in a process of reciprocal influence. Our, let's say, practice-led research and research-led practice at the same time intersects with Barad's notion of interaction taken up by Maurstad, Davis, and Cowles for the specific case of horses, and with Davis and Maurstad's notion of biosocial encounters in which horse and rider and horse and human in general co-construct each other during the performance. Also with Burke and Thompson's notion of kinesthetic empathy, which emphasizes a shared body-mediated awareness. By extension, this intersects with Donna Haraway's theory of coexistence and coevolution, and also with multinaturalism and acoustic multinaturalism concepts, according to which all ways of perceiving, inhabitating, and producing sound participate in the production of meaning. It is also framed with the ontological turn, a theoretical approach in the social sciences and anthropology that understands cultural practices not as different representation of a single world, but as forms that produce and inhabit multiple ontologies, that is, partially distinct and co-constructed realities. This perspective, of course, is particularly relevant within post-human and more than human frameworks, as it extends to interspecies relations and the plurality of worlds they enact. So to give these concepts a practical meaning, I'll now hand over to Davide, who will tell us about the Helicona project and who will introduce the field research we conducted, based on a relational epistemology and drawing on Marchesini's concept on a zoanthropological approach, investigating human-animal relations. So the floor is yours, Davide.
Thank you, Chiara, and thank you for being here and allowing us to describe this project. This is too far. Okay, this. I also thank Chiara because she asked me to become the key study for her master. So it was an honor for me to be taken as a guinea pig for this experimentation and research. So in this case, I will talk about the project that I'm running, even if I'm also doing a PhD specifically in music and horses. I have to say that my approach is historically based. So my approach is from the historical point of view. And I will tell you a little bit about the project more than the research that I'm doing. So basically, this project aims to connect the invisible of communication with the natural and effective gesture. This is one way to describe it. Is invisible, what does it mean? For me, invisible is empathy, intention and motivation, relationship. And music is also part of this invisible way of communicating. Visible is expressive code, so everything that becomes a formal outcome. Social and cultural codes, of course, organization of knowledge, and of course gesture that are visible. But other ways to describe this is, in other words, it aims to find the balance between content and form. Content is all about emotion, instinct, spark that moves, the necessity, also in the Greek ancient way of think that this is what is moving us, desire of connection. Form is the representation, so rationality, social and cultural agreements, rhetoric of the event, and cognitive references, all that we organize, let's say. All these is put into action in the activity with horses. And because I'm a performer in Baroque music, this is what I was wondering when I was teaching to my students and trying to do something that was also useful for them to understand how to deliver a piece, for example. And in my research, personal experimentation, I was trying to find historical ways in which people could have been trained to understand how to deliver a content into an effective form. So I came out with this kind of solution. If I can move a horse with my music, I can move my audience. That means that what I'm expressing has to be significant from many points of view. So to tell you a little bit what we want to express, I show you the small video of our research, even if Chiara will explain better the research in a few minutes. It is important to say that what I am playing is not the result of a performance, is part of a relationship. So don't think this as the piece of art that will be presented in the show or in a specific moment of. It is part of a relationship that can change every time, so it's not about the piece, it's the relationship. As you can see, there is this horse, curious and coming to see what is happening. But there is another horse around. It is a white one, and it is bossy. So you will see the relationship between the two, and this is also very important. So it goes away because there is the white one that is moving the brown one. So it is very interesting, I think, uh, to have a relationship in which you understand what is the language, what are the habits of the animal. And this is a way in which you enter in the other field, is the listening that we were talking before. And it's also very interesting because you listen what is the language that they are using. There was another part that was related to the rhythm. So being attuned with the movement of the horse is like for the birds maybe copying or having a similar sound to try and interact with their own language. Sorry, this is not part of the... Okay, it's not part of the search. Okay, so going on with the description of the project to give you a kind of philosophical background of the project, Eligona project, we like to work on 3 levels: research, education, and performance. So this is part of the research, for example, but I use this also as part of the education. So I do courses of improvisation, because actually improvisation is the here and now, but I will explain. Education and then performance. So we also do shows together with the animals and this. So by focusing on these 3 key aspects of the method: music improvisation, multidisciplinary approach, and historical approach. So improvisation is the here and now of the communication. So I decide what is the best thing that connect my being here with the other. So I balance myself with the environment, the other person, the other animals, or whoever, the acoustic of the place, or whatever. Awareness of the expressive code. When I represent something, I have a story behind. This also is something that I would like to focus, but I will say it later. I have a story that is also an emotional story, and I represent the emotional story, so I'm aware that if I do stronger thing, means an increasing of energy. And the horses understand exactly, because when I was playing, for example, with some rider, and I was playing something together with the step gates, they will say, no, wait a second, you're putting too many notes. Even if I was together with the walk, too many notes means that the horse is too much excited, and this excitement was not the right thing in that moment of the training. So I had to keep the pulse, but with less notes, because this was giving more tranquility to the horse. So awareness of the expressive codes. Search for beauty, harmony, and good taste. This is a philosophical thing with a big question mark, I can understand, but this also, it's a modern meaning for historical terminology. In the end of the 17th century, beginning of 18th century, they were inventing the terminology good taste. What is good taste? We can open another symposium and talk about good taste. Before, just to mention something, Renaissance time, the good taste was measure and proportion. So we can just place this kind of concept in this idea. Multidisciplinary approach. The importance of a natural gesture. When I want to be effective with the horse, the gesture is very important. So my gesture, if I do a gesture that is natural, the horse understands better, more than a gesture that is not natural. So also my gesture with the instrument means something. And knowing your body to better communicate. Of course, if you know your body, you can make a better gesture. Gaining more strategies to better communicate. When, just to make a joke, Italians like to use hands, and this is a strategy for communication. So this is, okay? Historical approach, awareness of the origin of the expressive code. This, I really care for this, because the archetypes are the origin of the form that we want to give to things to be expressive and meaningful. But if we go in the archetypes, we may understand what is the spark that makes the concept being alive. Renaissance and Baroque as a moment of balance between analogical and analytical thinking. Analogical is through analogy, so I represent something, but I leave the door open to the analogy of inner perception, subjectivity. Analytical thinking, if I say 3, the 3 is 3, is not anything else. Balance, so, between content and form. So a final kind of diagram to express this is a diminuendo crescendo in musical terms of content and form. But this is also, we can see it from a kind of historical point of view. So considering that history was at the beginning, the moment in which the content was the important things, because survival was the important thing, because energy is moving, and then little by little we find forms to organize our experience. Today we are in a big moment of form, in which protocols and forms and laws and all the rules of the organization of the knowledge is there. And sometimes we, this is what we feel in Licona, we think, sometimes we are disconnected. The form is not connected with the content that wants to express. So basically, content is emotion, physical, survival, listening. Form, time is rational, mental, comfort, doing and not listening. So that's why there is a dualism about analogical thinking and analytical thinking. The point in the middle, from the historical point of view, is can be seen in Renaissance and Baroque, when the scientific revolution make this change from the past to a perspective that is more objective and not subjective. What does it mean? It means that the content is right and the form is wrong. No, absolutely not. What we are looking for is the balance. And this balance is the moment in which we incarnate, as we were saying yesterday, we are incarnating the symbol. So the form is incarnated with the energy. This is the moment in which the horse understands, because the symbol that I am representing is incarnated with the energy of the expressivity. And it makes me think about Giordano Bruno, people like Giordano Bruno, and thinking like the matter and the spirit. It was mentioned yesterday, matter and spirit. Matter and spirit is not just a spiritual thing, but is like the mud that we were talking yesterday. Mud is a place where things are transforming, are living, are moving from one condition to another. It's not a fixed place. Is, with Giordano Bruno's words, a moment in which spirit and matter exist in the process of going to the infinite. So we are moving. And if we consider just the form, so the objectivity, when the form is broken, this becomes garbage. And so mud is just dirty. So if we still consider that in the mud there is spirit, it continues to live, and the experience of the process become more important of just the result of the performance as an object, as we were saying in these days, of an object that stays fixed and is not changing. So this is a quick thing. Going to the horses, based on our experience, thanks to the use of music in developing relationship with horse.
Yeah, I think we are running out of time, sorry. We need to go to the discussion.
Okay. So anyway, so saying briefly this is just to say that horses are helping us to understand. This was I wanted to hand the last part to Chiara.
It's the Q&A with the last part, which there are some examples for. Thank you, Davide. For about our research. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We can we? I don't know. No, I don't know. If you have some question, of course you can, but just to finish, so yeah, for every performative session, we try to observe the horse's responses in movements, body gesture, physiological or emotional changes, and spatial shifts involving approaching or moving away from the violinist, considering variables such as sex, breed, temperament, environment, and actors involved. As more actors, more potential energetic layers. So, according to Elicona principles, two sound musical strategies were tested. The first involved semantic archetypes, like interrogative melodic cell, recurrent and generally effective in capturing the horse's attention, as well as solicitation gestures articulated in several variations. And the musical gestures were alternated with improvisation performed by Davide based on historical dance methods, so Allemande, Gavotte, and Jig. Both the codes and the stylistic improvisation were characterized by progressions and elaborations. In this slide, you can see gestures that were generally perceived as pleasant and other generally as unwelcome by horses. In general, we can say that gentle, soft gestures elicit authentic reactions, while mechanical or aggressive ones provoke mechanical or stressed responses. So what we observed, I'll try to be as quick as possible. Besides confirming rhythm as a vehicle for relaxation, music amplifies human intentions, so the sounds and gestures of the musician convey his energy and his emotion, which the horse perceives and responds to. The rider adds a second energetic layer with the horse responding to both cues and musical rhythm. We observed that customized accompaniment accelerate relaxation and enhance learning. We might say that effectiveness of the interaction is connected to a flow state in performance, a Csikszentmihalyi concept which indicate a fully present shared musical state creating communal interspecies experience. Additionally, human-horse relationship teaches the musician to connect inner experience with expression, channel emotion, and enhance proprioceptive awareness. To complete the theoretical framework, we might say that this research is also aligned with the theoretical philosophical current of new materialism, which supports the vibrancy of matter as the only necessary condition for attributing agential quality to any object and living being. And finally, the study raises the question of who adapts to whom in the interaction. And drawing on Deleuze and Guattari's concept of territorialization, proposes creating a shared territory through a semantic bridge between human and animal expression. So this research, which aims to provide a methodological starting point for future studies, can certainly be further expanded through more numerous and systematized observation parameters, ultimately aiming to rethink research methodologies and redefine human and non-human sonic agency in a way that includes multiple modes of existence. So thank you very much, and excuse us for running time.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So we would suggest to have questions during the coffee, if that works for everyone. And then thank you once again. It's really very interesting.